Ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest on the SkateTank MMA program. This time it is the one and only undefeated Donald Trump's favorite fighter, Colby Chaos Covington. Colby, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great, Beaner. Thank you so much, man. But hey, dude, come 2025, man, you're going over that wall. Okay, great president going to deport you. All the other illegals coming into this country, you understand? So don't get your tacos in a twist, baby. I know it's nice to be in the presence of greatness, and maybe, just maybe, I'll have you on my shoulder, babe. But not right now. I've cut the chatter. I got to do my promo, babe. Hold on. Hey, this is a direct message to you, Joaquin Buckley. But first, I got to say, greetings, nerds and virgins. I'm standing in front of the wreckage of Trump Plaza in Atlantic City because just like its tragic and very unfair downfall, Joaquin Buckley Beaver's whole world is being demolished and sent crumbling to the ground after America's champion takes his non-natty ass down to the mat and makes him beg for mercy. I don't even know why I'm fighting you, Squirt. I was going to go fight Shavrat at UFC 310 on pay-per-view because I'm an actual star. But the UFC wanted some professional wrestling, someone's has to go crap, and chose that cuck instead. I'm coming for you next after this, by the way, P and Harry. Tell Layla don't be a stranger. But that's the thing, walkie-talkie. You're calling everyone's mama's hose on the mic, but what's your family situation like, Beaver? You don't seem to talk about them too much. Maybe because daddy split and mommy was the hoe you were thinking of all along, Junior. And you'll probably have to crash at the whorehouse for a few more years after I'm through with you Saturday night. You're next, Buckley Beaver! You're next!
Okay. I guess he's not Hank the Tank. I guess he's Hank the Tank now, not Colby.
What are you talking about, Skatesman? I'm doing great, dude. America's champion, Donald Trump's favorite
fighter.
Okay,
considering how you performed in your last fight, how do you see your chances against Joaquin Buckley? Because you look really bad in that last fight. Let's just be honest, Colby.
Well, what can I say? They're not supposed to allow legal weapons in the cage, but Edward Scissorhands, he brought scissors into the cage and he was cutting me up, dude. That was illegal, dude. And that was before the, unified rule sets got updated. So in my opinion, that should be overturned to a no contest. But talking about Joaquin Buckley, I don't even know him. I don't even have any, nicknames for him. I just do what the UFC asked me to because I'm America's champion and I do what the UFC wants and it's for the people's champion. I'm the people's champion. You understand? So Joaquin Buckley, you're next! You're next! And you're filthy animals. You suck. And you're probably related to Marty from Nebraska, Marty Juiceman, dude. You can't be natural, man. Full fucking EPU, full of steroids all up in your brains. Fucking Joaquin from Nebraska.
Yeah. 100%. Well, thank you, Colby, for giving us this interview in this time, and hopefully you do better in this fight than you did against Leon Edwards because that was a terrible performance.
I don't know what you're talking about, Skatesman or whatever PG-13 kids cartoon bullshit you got on your agenda. I think that fight was rigged. That fight was rigged. We need to be there on the Capitol in January, dude. That fight was rigged. Just ask Donald Trump's favorite fighter.
All right.
It's not real. It's not real.
I'll ask Donald Trump next time I see him.
You won't, because I'll have you banned from the golf course. You understand? You're going to be banned from Mar-a-Lago. You're next. You're illegal. Troopers and grinders, welcome to Hank the Tank and the Idaho Skatesman's preview and picks show for whatever we got happening on Saturday. That's right. We got the fight night between Joaquin Buckley and Colby Chaos Covington. Yes, sir. And it's actually a pretty good, by the way, how was my impression out of 10?
Solid 7.
Nice. That's pretty good. That's like
you had a lot of the words, right? Like the dialogue, but then you started to go like this. You started to refrain back to your Trump impression.
He's Trump's favorite fighter. He's got to
but that doesn't mean he talks like Trump.
He's influencing him. He's getting into his mind. He's brainwashing him, just like all the rest of his loyal followers. But that's not the point. The point is that we got a stacked card on Saturday. A very if you know kind of fight night in terms of quality, because it's not big names, but if you know about the names, then they're going to bring the action.
Hardcore's delight.
Yes, sir. And us two hardcore, we're going to be having a hell of a time on Saturday. For you guys, for you fucking guys, dude. And before we get into all that, let me say, on top of being a hardcore's delight, there are 6 freaking regional MMA shows on Tapology.
Boo.
Per pick. And there are some that are actually memorable, some that are noteworthy that Hank the Tank will
No,
be
there's
good.
not.
Yep. We'll see the very first fight of the regional
I
MMA.
won't see.
Guess who? Look who's back. It's Muhammad Mokaev. After his tenure in UFC, he was fired by Dana and his staff because he wasn't working well with the bookers and the team and the fighters, and he was just in general a nuisance and a piece of shit. But he has been accepted by his sugar daddy in Brave CF, and he is fighting again.
Who's his sugar daddy?
The guy who owns Brave.
Who is that?
They're the Brahm CEO. I forget.
All right.
You could do it. I don't know. Wait, hold on. Brave CEO.
Oh, God.
1 second, guys. Very professional.
What's up,
Brandon
Andrew?
Knight.
Good to
Brandon
see you.
Knight.
He's telling us about his many YouTube exploits. Good to see you. Good to see you, Kobe. For better or for worse. 2 smelly fingers in the chat. Loyal follower. Rafuko is in here. Good to see Rafuko. Kings World says, "What's up, ladies?" Interesting. Haven't seen Kings World in a while. Hope you're doing all right there, my friend.
I actually had Kings World on in a guest appearance during Thanksgiving week when I was doing my PFL preview and picks. He hopped on for 30 minutes, and he's actually a pretty chill guy once you actually chat with him in person. And you know what? That's how humans usually work. Behind the screen, they're absolutely filthy, dirty monsters that are just reflections of their id. And then once you see them in person, all of a sudden, all the defenses withdraw, and they actually become a regular person, if you can believe it. But yeah, that was actually a good time chatting it up with him. So maybe next time we do our post show, you'll see King's World in the near future. But let's talk about my lock for Brave CF91. I'm going with Muhammad Mokaev by round 3 sub. Class vintage method of victory for Muhammad Mokaev. Mokaev by meme finish. Luthando Biko is a tough, aged flyweight vet with great wrestling and striking, riding a 4-fight win streak. But I see that he's lost by submission before, even if it was a Gilly Goose Gang situation, and that's enough for Mokaev to beat him by 3rd round sub. Doesn't matter how bad he does on the feet or in the scrambles. Some are saying that after 1 or 2 wins for Mokaev, the UFC is going to come crawling back and re-sign him. But multiple sources from the company have clearly said that the problem was his general relationship with management, the bookers, and the fighters. So I doubt he impresses against these brave cans.
Wait, do you actually believe the UFC when they say that?
What? That he had a bad relationship with the bookers?
Yeah, and he was hard to deal with, all that stuff.
What's your reason?
What?
Why do you think they let him go?
Did you just counter my question with another question?
Yes. Because it's a valid question. If you have another reason as to why he got let go, what is it?
I'm just saying, when the UFC is critical of a fighter, I'm just skeptical at anything that Dana White specifically has to say on any matter of anything.
Right.
These are the same that said that Francis was the worst guy you've ever met behind the scenes.
Right.
So
right.
I'm just curious if you actually believe that, or if it's just more for your narrative.
But it's also been real life fighters like Jake Hadley being like, "Oh, he was a fucking asshole, mate. Oh, he's going to shake my hand. He was a trick, and he was wanting to fight me and pushing me around. Everybody, all the flyweights, he was just a nuisance, mate. Screw him." Hadley said that. He got into an altercation with Muhammad Mokaev, and according to 2 or 3 fighters, he's annoying to deal with. So I think the fact that they fired him or they let him go immediately after that fight tells me it's not like an Ngannou. Oh, let's talk bad about him now that he's in another company. I think it's we're just tired of him.
And also, I don't know if they let him go or fired him. They let the
contract run out. They let it run out once it had made it. But I think he's probably a nuisance. And we've seen him. He went into hey, come on, we're both Islamic, and let's go take a picture, a selfie together. We're all cool. And then he fucking attacked Muhammad Manel Cap during the photo.
That was an interesting reenactment of that.
Yeah, it was right to the very most minute detail. Perfect reenactment. But anyways, I was saying, I doubt he impresses enough against these brave cans that he gets back in the UFC. His layoff from the biggest MMA organization in the world is way too personal for a quick reconciliation, in my opinion. And if it's not true and he gets back in after a year, I'll eat crow. But I don't know. I think a few fights in Brave isn't gonna change much, to be honest, because he's unimpressive even against the lowest level of competition. He gets people done by third round sub in like the last seconds. Like, he's not gonna, oh my god, round 1 KO from Muhammad Mokaev. He's a completely different fighter. I just doubt that happens. But then we have Hank's underdog for Brave 91, going with the guy by the name of Zagid Gaidarov to win this fight against Mr. Alizir Kubanza by decision. I feel bad picking this underdog. Alizir Kubanza is of the Democratic Republic of Congo, is clearly No Chill's boy, and he's a super duper fun striker to watch too.
Looks just like No Chill.
Yeah, he looks just like him, man. He's got that deep baritone voice as well, man. So he could be a voice actor. He's getting knockout after knockout after knockout against undefeated fighters in brutal fashion, including a Kyrgyzstani fighter named Salamat Orozakonov. That's when you know this guy's legit. However, I don't know if he's really faced any legit wrestlers like this guy Gaidarov, who has been mercilessly taking dudes down and beating the ever-loving crap out of them on the ground. First round ground and pound TKO after first round ground and pound TKO. This fighter from Bahrain's a menace, but he has been given some easier competition than Kubanza, which is why he's an underdog. However, I think the most intimidating wrestler Elizur Kubanza's dealt with so far is going to keep him on the mat and beat him up.
God, the long-winded notes are just so...
If he can neutralize
Get on with it.
With the wrestling, he's got this. That's very good, Zagit. So that is it for Brave. Dude, this is my first freaking show, and Skatesman is already completely intolerant and impatient. Settle down, boy.
I'm just saying, it's just like...
And the narrative heading into this fight is that this guy is an undefeated fighter on a long...
It's like, I don't... Who cares? Who are you picking and why? Just, well, he's done good. I think he's going to win. Next.
Yeah, but
two people that nobody's ever going to hear about or care about ever. Like,
you'll see. You'll all see. They'll be in the
UFC.
No,
we won't.
Wow.
No, we won't.
I wish we could have listened to Hank the Tank and his descriptions of these fighters before they got onto Contender Series. Oh, we'll rue the day that we.
Nobody's ever said that or ever will say that ever in the history of the world. Guaranteed.
All right. Well, we got our next big lock in Invicta, the very important Invicta promotion aligned with Fight Pass. And I'm going with Valeska Machado by decision. Even this fight in Invicta, I had reservations about the lock. Valeska Machado is a former Invicta champion who returned to the promotion coming off some excellent performances on the regionals. She is not always the most consistent in her fights. Timing of her striking and grappling can be off at times. When she's on, she has the power to knock her opponents out cold. Stand-up can be a truly frightening thing to behold. Many were surprised she wasn't on Dana White's Contender Series, but her losing her first title defense likely had something to do with that, despite her excellent wins
were
afterward.
Surprised. Who are these many that were surprised?
Knocking out a 4-0 girl and then beating a 9-2 Russian. And now she's taking on a 6-1 opponent. And that's a little scary given her most recent loss was against a 6-2 opponent. But that lady beat her for the title, and she hasn't lost since. This girl, Yasmin Castanho, lost to Bruna Brazil, who's and she's only won her fights by submission, which Machado doesn't lose by. So this fight goes through full 3 rounds. I expect Machado to come through with the win. She's very powerful and is used to winning long fights. Plus, she might be related to Layla Machado, so she could be bringing that demon energy into this fight as well. So
you could have said the last part, and it would have been a fine analysis.
Yeah, there's a
read the first part. Read the first part about that again. What was the first line?
This girl Yasmin Castano lost to Bruna Brazil, who's mid.
No. And the very first line. The very first line of your notes on this fight.
Oh yes. Even this fight in Invicta, I had reservations about the lock. End scene.
You're writing this like you're writing a note to like you're in the Civil War and you're writing a note back home to your family. And it's been 3 days since we ran out of provisions and on the fucking 35th parallel. It's like, dude, just fucking tell me who's gonna win the fight. Fuck.
It's the last message I can send before my final resting place. I have to make sure everything's out, okay? And then we have
you do it every week.
Underdog For Invicta, we got Jennifer Maia by decision. This one may be in the shot in the dark, but I'm going with Jennifer Maia to eke out the decision win against the current Invicta Bantamweight champion,
Three-score
Talita
in
Bernardo,
7 years ago.
who I think might not be able to win a decision against her. Maia has had experience in fights against some of the best flyweights in the world, including a young Manon Fiorot and snapping the undefeated streak of Casey O'Neill in her prime. Bernardo is a grappling ace with rear naked choke after rear naked choke in her arsenal, and it seems pretty clear to me that she likes her fights staying on the ground. No Jones. Maia's a vet who has no doubt dealt with some tough wrestlers in the past and kept it standing on the feet, which is going to be her bread and butter for this fight. I think she's fought long enough to figure out Bernardo's style and make her pay on the feet after she stuffs the less experienced fighters' takedowns. Jennifer's taming this great Bernard and winning her first major world championship at 36 years of age for Demian Maia. And then we have Cage Warriors, Idaho Skatesman's favorite promotion, Cage Warriors. We are going with Mr. Joshua Simpson to get it done by round 1 knockout. This lock's a bit of a no-brainer. Can always rely on Cage Warriors to give me the easiest locks ever on their squash match shows, especially with what little talent their San Diego cards have. This guy, Joshua Cervantes, is on a 4-fight losing streak, losing by decision, not finish, to be fair, but he has lost to a guy who's literally only had 1 fight in his professional career, and it was a loss. Jobber. And meanwhile, the literal come-up kid prospect, no Aljo, Joshua Simpson, is schooling 3-1 guys, and the rest he knocks out. This is clearly a different level of danger and talent, maybe worse than Joshua's dealt with his last 4 fights. So I think Cervantes is finally losing by knockout, and Joshua Simpson puts his lights out in round 1 with the force and momentum of Marge putting Homer through the garage door. Trust. And then we have the underdog. Trust.
What does Izzy have to do with anything you ever talk about?
Whenever
I'm constantly do an impression of him, like never ending.
Whenever I'm being very exaggerative on a pick or like just saying something that is completely out of left field, I go with Izzy because he always makes stupid statements and then he goes trust afterwards, and it's very untrustworthy to be honest. Yes, he does. He does during the press conferences. I'm going to put you on skates. I'm going to leave you tangled like Rapunzel. Trust. This is an arc in my story. I'm an anime protagonist. Watched. But then we have Darren Smith Jr. I have him by round 2 knockout against Mr. Teddy Stringer. Big thank you to A. Lemonade on Tapology for this one. This guy in Tapology thinks that English Cage Warriors welterweight prospect Teddy Stringer isn't all that. Seems like the Cage Warriors don't think so either, as they've been feeding him 6-9 and 0-3 cans as of late. Sure, he's been getting first-round finishes, as is Cage Warriors tradition. But against 26-13 Darren Smith Jr., who has faced a who's who of names at welterweight in several MMA promotions.
Who's who, he says.
Who's who?
Chris Cushman asked, is this UFC? No, this is Hank's long-winded reading off of notes, regional promotion breakdown.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's very
because he
good
has
for
to
your
get that in for some reason every weekend.
Very good for you all. Yes.
We're good to see you, Chris Cushman.
It is nice to see Chris Cushman. He's a good guy. But Stringer's grappler heavy approach might be nothing new for him. And Stringer will be dealing with a guy who's ready to stuff his takedowns and play the long game. And once Stringer starts to gas
the long game, like these fucking picks.
Yes, about an hour in length. And game plan falls out the window in rounds 2 and 3. Smith Jr. is probably going to hit Stringer with something big he didn't see coming and flatten him out for the TKO win. Maybe Teddy Stringer looks more like Stringer Bell at the end of the wire. Don't mess with Hollywood, baby. It'll eat you up. And then we have PFL Europe 2024 championships. I'm assuming that Skatesman doesn't want to talk about this show because it's a lot of mid. Not
to mention, can't you not even watch this unless you're watching on like meth streams or something?
Probably. Yeah. I mean, PFL
the last one you couldn't watch.
Even have a subscription service. Yeah. So there you go. But
it's on ESPN Plus, but
right.
Just like all their weird regional cards, you can't actually watch them on there. It's geo-blocked.
So that's why it's probably going to be on meth streams. But I got Patrick Habirora by round 1 knockout. Tapology's high on this guy, Patrick Habirora. And why wouldn't they? He's knocking out everybody put in front of him with slick hooks and shots. And he's got enough power to do it in the first round pretty much every single time. When it's not in the first round, he's dominating his opponents over 15 minutes. This kid from Belgium's legit. and he's probably going to have a signature performance against Mr. Catalan Safta, who had a late knockout against a decent guy, but hadn't had a good finish against a good opponent for over 4 years before that one. Think Bilal Muhammad against Sean Brady or Leon Edwards in his entire career before that head kick. He's not consistent in his punching power or grit enough to knock out Patrick Habirora, and against really good guys, he tends to crumble a bit, come very close to losing. Habirora is a different beast, and I think Safta is not prepared for a lightweight of his caliber, especially with the sneaky and technical boxing. First round knockout by however Habirora wants. His only weakness is wrestling, and Safta shoots literally 0 takedowns. This is the Krusty Krab. No, this is Patrick, motherfucker. And then we got my underdog. And this is actually a familiar face of the podcast, like long ago. Like this is probably one of my first locks I ever had.
Wow. Crazy that nobody knows who he is or remembers him. Wow. Isn't that insane?
Except the diehard PFL watchers. I got Lewis McGrillen Evans by round 3 knockout. A lot of predictors think that McGrillen Evans is the underdog to look out for on this card. And given his opponent, it makes sense. Alexander Luster looks like a scary phenom on paper. Rest in peace, Anthony Smith, by the way. But it's mostly been against okay guys. And he incoming, yeah. And he's gotten them out of there solely on the ground. Here we go again. If Lewis keeps this thing standing over 3 rounds, he will find a knockout. His power is insane, and he grits through a lot of punishment in his fights to get the win. His only loss is against Wesley Maya, which has aged like a fine wine since now he's a top contender in his weight division. To me, and I picked him as an underdog, by the way. To me, Alexander has his wrestling and not much else. And if this fight goes past the first round, I've got a good feeling that Lewis cracks his chin and puts him away. Alexander's losing his luster after Evans McGrillen split him in the And by the way, go check out Hank the Tank and Idaho Skatesman's fast food restaurant chains tier list. Cheap plug.
That was a good video.
That is a good video, a very good video. And then we got yet another show from Brave. 9 briefs. You have 92.
Another show from Brave?
No, it's on like late Saturday, early Sunday.
2 shows from Brave.
Yeah, fucking crazy, man. But let's see. What is the lock I have for this one? Oh, yeah. I got Ismail Khan by round 1 submission. This is the definition of a mismatch. A Eurasian 8-1 Pakistani who's only faced good competition taking on an Indian scrub named Singh, whose only wins have come against guys with literally 0 professional wins. Everybody else has smoked him. I can't say
we went from 8 live viewers to 3, by the way.
Yeah. Maybe I should just skip this, to be honest. We got 2 left.
Oh no, go ahead. I mean, it's almost 10 o'clock p.m. at night, But yeah, just keep going on regional shows. Right, that's what people really are here for.
I can't say Yadwinder's career is winding down because it's never started up in the first place. This one isn't hard to figure out. Khan knocks Singh down and chokes him out. He's completely harmless against a wrathful prospect. Volcano Ismail Singh's leaving Singh as frozen as the people of Pompeii. Watch. And then we have our big underdog for the event, Mr. Mohamed Fakhreddin. I have him by round 1 knockout. This underdog makes a lot of sense. Mohamed Fakhreddin is a former Brave middleweight champion who has never lost the belt, and he's only lost recently to a PFL vet in Martin Hamlet. Abdel Rahman Dry, meanwhile, has lost to solid prospects in both Brave and PFL, and those he has beaten, those 2 promotions, don't have the cleanest of records. He either finishes his opponents or gets finished himself, usually in the first round. Sort of like T-Rex Arms Terrence McKinney.
I have applesauce.
Oh, nice. Is that a... Wait, what is even the... Is it?
I don't know. Keep going on your picks, or we're going to be here all night.
I see this as too big a jump up in competition. Journeyman contender against returning world champs. Number 23 Middle East middleweight against number 3 Middle East middleweight. Drury Eyes getting taken down and smashed, Braza. The Silverbacks getting taken down by the latest, at least in terms of age. And the number of viewers, it's going up. It's going back up. Hank's Locks and Underdogs. They're saving the day, man. Here we go. And then this is the last one. Skatesman's favorite promotion.
Another card.
Kadyrov and ACA 182. I'm going with Faridun Odilov by round 2 KO. And this does have consequences for the UFC in the future, I predict.
Yeah, it has consequences because if this guy doesn't win, he'll go into the military.
Yes. South Korean military. Predictors have a good feeling that Faridun Terminator Odilov could be a real threat in the UFC, given he's been able to finish his opponents in a variety of ways, easily. And like the Terminator, he just keeps moving forward and looking for submissions and angles to chin his competition. Adlan Ibragimov's certainly not going to stand in Arnold's way. He's been facing pretty mid competition with 6 losses minimum on their records, and either getting beat by them or going to very close decisions. Faradun's 18-2 and is vying for a second world championship in a higher weight class. Ibragimov's no match, and I think he gets either subbed or knocked out cold in the second round. I'll flip a coin and go with knockout. Hasta la vista, Bragi. And then we have Hank's final underdog for this dumpster fire of a segment. We have Abdul Aziz Abdulvakabov. I'm going with round 2 knockout.
What?
Abdul
But they have the
Aziz-
same name.
Yes, it's Abdul Aziz Abdulvakabov versus Ali Abdul Kalinikov. That is the most Russian fight I've ever seen. Lots of alliteration right there. There's like 5 A's in there. I'm going with him by round 2 knockout. Battle of the A alliteration. This is a razor close fight between 2 Russian light heavyweights with sizable records. No, Molina.
Hurry!
And I'll go with the underdog who surprisingly has more wins on his record than his opponent as an ACA champion against his challenger, having beaten guys with over 30 wins on their records by knockout, submission, and decision. That's how you know this dude, Abdelaziz, not the rat, Ali Abdelaziz, is very well-rounded. He's won his fights convincingly by finish. The other guy, Ali, is eking out decision wins. I trust the Lion to maul his challenger and pick the body clean when he is done. And that is it for Hank's Locks and Underdogs. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Also, we have Pubes Transplant MMA starting a new channel here in the SkateTank Army chat. He is going to be huge in the future, guys. Trust.
Who is that?
As long as it has MMA at the end, it is going to be a huge YouTube channel.
Who is that?
I have no idea. I've never seen them in here, but it's good to see a Pubes Transplant. And welcome.
Yeah, good to see you, SS Jackson. They're brothers, Jackie Chan, Rush Hour 2. Yeah, talking about it's funny. I've seen Rush Hour like 1,000 million times, so I can picture the exact scene he's talking about. It's when he's fighting Kung Fu Freddy in the back of his restaurant and uses the tiger's paw. He's like, "Where'd you learn that? From Freddy Chinga?" He's like, "Oh no, I learned it from this guy, Chinga." He goes, "Oh, they're brothers." Anyway,
wow.
Okay, so now the false advertisement is over, and we're actually talking about the UFC now.
I'm gonna get
yeah, run away now. Hank, god damn it. So we'll just get right into it. Pubes MMA sponsored by Manscaped, 100%. He should be. I don't know why. If he's not, he definitely should be. But yeah, UFC Tampa, the last card of the year for the UFC before they take a really long break. Thankfully, we'll get Fury and Usyk rematch. We'll get Ryzen in between there. But starting off with the absolute banger on this card is Piera Rodriguez and Josfine Knutsson in a strawweight match. Looks like Piera is 3-2 in her last 5. She is cashing in, or she is the underdog in this one. Pretty sizable too. She's 32, and Knutsson is 8-0, and she last beat Polastri and Mardik Man, 2 of the worst fighters ever in the history of the UFC.
Yeah.
So I know that she's a Swede, so she's kind of, I mean, you would think she's like tall and lanky. I feel like she's definitely lanky. But this is like clearly like a striker versus grappler matchup. Knutsson's gonna be the one trying to do like that I don't know, Swedish or Dutch kickboxing style. Meanwhile, I think Piera is gonna be looking to take this to the ground and make it really boring. For that reason alone, I'll probably just pick Knutsson via decision. What say you?
Very wise pick from the Skatesman because I also have Josfine Knutsson by decision. Yes, sir. Going with the excellent kickboxing of Josfine Knutsson once again to win her this fight against Alex Piera Rodriguez, who seems to be making some big negative fight IQ level mistakes in her fight as of late. Front kicking her last opponent, Ariane Carnelosi, and then once she was on the ground with her, tapping into her nickname La Fiera way too much and suddenly getting pissed at Carnelosi for no reason to the point of headbutting her and getting herself disqualified. If she's willing to literally get herself DQ'd on the ground, I have no confidence in her to get Knutsson to the ground and keep her there. She's going to do something wrong in the scrambles, and then Knutsson's getting right back up to her feet and doing damage on Rodriguez in the stand-up over 3 rounds. Josfine was able to get out of a few tricky situations with Julia Pilastri's takedowns and submission attempts. I think she's good enough to survive Piera's basic wrestling and show her levels on the feet. Plus, she's had opponents with better records in her last 5 fights than Rodriguez. She probably schools Sam Hughes. Josfine's nuts are making a thunderous impact on Piera's face. Once again, nuts on the face. Piera Rodriguez is no good.
Challenge for both men as you go find 6 locks.
I
I think we could maybe. I agree, but I think we could probably. I would rather do that at the end. But 6 is quite a few.
At the end. All right, just remind us. Remind us at the end. Paradox.
The next fight will be Davey Grant versus Ramon Taveras, a bantamweight contest. Davey Grant, man, 38 years old, 2-3 in his last 5, but I mean, he's like seems like he's rather inactive. He fought 2 times in a year. It looks like never fighting more than 2 times in a year. He had an injury.
He had 1 fight with the guy booked for 2024, and then it got canceled. I'm pretty sure. So I looked at his record.
Okay, but yeah, Davey Grant is always a fun fighter to watch. Going up against Ramon Taveras, who is 10-2 overall. He's the favorite, and he's 4-1 in his last 5. But that last fight against Surrey City was pretty disputed, though it was a fantastic fight. Just really close. And actually, Davey Grant himself, coming off of a split decision loss to Daniel Marcos, another fight that was really close. So both bantamweights here coming off of close fights that were really good.
Yeah.
I expect this one to be really good. The thing about Davey Grant is he's always solid, has taken a lot of damage in his career, I feel.
It was Cody Gibson in March of 2024. That's when
okay. Got it. That would have been a much better matchup for him, a kind of an older guy.
Sure.
Even though Ramon Taveras won his last fight against Surrey that he probably should have lost, I feel like he's just got more dog in him. When was that fight? Actually? 10 months ago. It was a really tough fight, and I think there's been enough time between that fight and this one for him to like fully recover. Same with Davey Grant, but I just feel like him being 38 at bantamweight, I can't confidently pick him. I'm going to go with Ramon. Possibly to get a knockout here. Definitely the safe way would be decision. But I think that Davey Grant's style, he kind of just goes right into the fire and gets right into the fight. I think I'm going to go with the 2nd round knockout for Taveras. Wow. What say you?
I'm going the opposite. I'm going with Davey Grant, and I have him finishing the fight by round 3 knockout. Finally, we're going to see justice served to Davey Grant in his fight with Ramon Taveras. Taveras has potential, and he's shown it on the regional scene with all the knockouts that he's gotten, and then on the Contender Series with his very brutal knockout of the very unentertaining Cortavius Romeus. But his 2 fights with Surrey City have really exposed the holes in Rivera's game and the physical chinks in his armor. He's gotten chinned early in his career, and CD starched him in a round on his first stint with the Contender Series, Savage My Ass. In their rematch, as active fighters on the UFC roster, Saidi was piecing up Taveras and getting the better of most of their exchanges in the later rounds. To be fair, it was a very good, very close fight, but so I can understand one of the judges screwing up their scorecards. But for every source of MMA media to say that Saidi won only for 2 judges to award it to Taveras is just ridiculous. You'd think the fix would be in for the Canadian in CD, given they were fighting at UFC 297 in Toronto, but I recall the judges being complete ass cheeks for that whole card. So the bullshit decision actually isn't all that surprising. Either way, me and a lot of people thought that Rivera's lost the rematch and got outboxed, and I think a well-rounded striker hybrid in Davey Grant is going to give Taveras even more problems. Davey Grant's kick game is stellar, with side kicks and leg stomps that place him in good range to strike with his opponents, and there are times that Grant has shown that he has serious knockout power, on top of having expert wrestling. He's dangerous in more ways than one in that cage, as his moniker suggests. He's had split decisions with both main card fighters Adrian Yanez and Daniel Marcos, which in other judges' hands easily could have gone Grant's way. He could be on a 4-fight win streak right now, technically. The only one who's beaten him definitively lately is a prime Chito Vera, and other than that, he's either finished his fights or gone to very close decisions. And in my opinion, this is a nightmare vet for Ramon Taveras to deal with on his return fight. On top of his own nightmare situation in Florida, having to avoid drive-bys seconds after leaving his house. His mentality might not even be ready going into this fight. And that's a shame because he has talent. However, Davey Grant's more of a dangerous savage than he is, even at 38 years of age. And I see him both taking down Taveras and wearing him out by the third round, to the point he tunes him up on the feet and scores a late fight TKO. Davey Grant's a sleeping dragon at bantamweight. The UFC matchmakers are about to wake back up. So I think
very long-winded reading off of notes there. But yeah, Davey Grant beating Asuncao and Luis Smolka, two guys who aren't even on the roster. Those are his only wins in the last 3 years.
In my opinion,
I mean,
well. I think he's solid. Very underrated.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and act like Davey Grant doesn't have a chance to win. But yeah, 38 at bantamweight. It's just impossible for me personally to pick him. You make a good case for him to win, especially with the kicks. I think that was giving Taveras a lot of problems in the city fight. But I don't know, man. Just again, hard for me to pick a 38-year-old bantamweight to win a fight.
Yeah, I just think Taveras is a little too green going into this fight, but we could see. I could be very much proven wrong.
I mean, he is from. He says he's from the U.S., but I think he's like Mexican or
from Florida.
Cuban.
Yeah,
So
Grill must be an Irish burger joint. Yes, they would make a bunch of money. I feel like Ramon can chin him. Skatesman thinks so too. Skatesman taking a piss break. No, just trying to get away from Hank's Locks and Underdogs. Ooh, applesauce break. Two Smelly Fingers is clearly behind. He's behind by like 10 minutes right now.
He's fine.
Give me Andre Iguodala. Nice. Yeah, he'll definitely get your parlay.
I'll pick it.
The NBA. Nice yap. Taveras round 1 KO. Thank you, Paradox the chat. I appreciate my opinion.
Paradox picking against the British man should tell you something there. But yeah, I'm not counting Davey out. Just guys fucking old. Next fight will be a flyweight match. Miranda Maverick versus Jamey-Lyn Horth. Miranda Maverick 27. She's 4-1 her last 5. 14-5. She is a huge favorite in this match. Jamey-Lyn Horth, the Canadian, she's 4-1 in her last 5 as well. Last winning a split decision to Ivana Petrovic. She's plus 275 on the line. 34 years old. To me, this is clearly just a layup. A favorable matchup for Miranda Maverick. A girl who I feel like she's been losing, you know? But she hasn't. She's on a 3-fight win streak.
Yeah.
There was a time where she was looking like probably the next champ in the weight class early on. And then or just at least like a really good prospect. She had a couple of skids, losing a couple fights. She's on a 3-fight win streak, but they're like so unmemorable, and she hasn't really done anything to stand out, in my opinion. Makes me a little worried for her development. I know she is a coach, so I feel like she might be focusing on other fighters' careers,
right?
Rather than her own. And I just don't see a lot of development going on. But that being said, from what I have seen from Jamey-Lyn Horth, I just do feel like this is a favorable matchup for Miranda, and I suspect her winning a 29-28 unanimous decision in this fight. I feel like she is really well-rounded, and Jamey-Lyn Horth's like striking is her strong suit. I think that Miranda is technical enough and just solid enough that she'll be able to beat her there. But she is a few inches taller. Is Horth has a slightly longer reach. But yeah, I feel like Miranda Maverick switch it up enough, take her down, grind her out, get the decision win.
I agree. I'm going with Maverick by decision as well. I actually don't see too much potential in Miranda Maverick. She fights pretty awkwardly at times, doesn't really land too accurately with her hands, and has gotten taken down before by women's flyweights who are pretty mid. I expected her to dominate Andrea Lee. Never happened. I thought she'd make Dion Barbosa look easy, turned into a pretty competitive fight. It doesn't matter, though, because her opponent, Jamey-Lyn Horth, only knows competitive fights. She went to a split decision with Veronica Hardy, which honestly shouldn't have been a split. She clearly lost rounds 1 and 2 and just used her size to get on top of Hardy at the very end of the fight. And against Ivana Petrovic. And honestly, Ivana forget that fight even existed. It was just a crazy, scrambly back and forth.
That was neither so bad.
Really having an advantage in the striking or the grappling. And Horth barely eked out a decision win in a pretty trash. Your bitch Hank, she will be champion easy.
Oh my god.
Okay. I can see you. Who's looking at pictures?
Yeah, clearly she won't be. is the problem, though.
Yeah, in his heart. She barely eked out a decision win in a pretty trash effort. Against Miranda Maverick, Horth might be somewhat successful with their takedowns, but she'll do nothing with them. And Maverick will eventually get back to her feet and keep this fight a striking match. And it's here that I think she's going to win because Horth's striking is pretty much either non-existent or very loosey-goosey. And I think Maverick's just going to beat up Horth on the feet, just like the now mid Hardy did. Her boxing's inaccurate, but Horth has next to zero accuracy. So it should be a schooling in the boxing over 3 rounds. Get ready to fear the Maverick, Jamey-Lyn, because Miranda's fists are, goodness gracious, great balls of fire. And she's got a need for speed. Ow! So there you go.
I mean, I would rather have preferred a Highway to the Danger Zone reference, but
oh wait, hold on, we got it at the very end. You're in the danger zone. Ooh yeah, dig it. So there you go.
That was terrible. The next fight is a really interesting fight to me. In the featherweight division, it's Miles Johns versus Felipe Lima. Miles Johns, 15-2. He is 3-1-1 in his last 5. 30 years old, out of Dallas, Texas. Versus Felipe Lima, 13-1. I don't know how long his win streak is, but in the last 5 fights, he is perfect. He made his debut against Muhammad Naimov, and he's 26. He's out of Manaus. You know anything about Manaus?
Manaus is in the region? No,
it's a
I have not heard
city in Brazil.
I see.
So there isn't like a road into Manaus. You have to like take the Amazon River ferry there. Wow. It's like totally in the jungle. If you look at a picture of Manaus, like there's the city and then just the jungle. Like it's the most isolated city in Brazil. And that's probably why Felipe Lima's nickname is Jungle Boy. Felipe Lima beat the absolute dog shit out of Muhammad Naimov, who we thought was just this killer at featherweight. He came in on short notice and annihilated him. Got the submission win. Kind of shocking how he did it, too. He beat him up on the feet, took him down on the ground, just had his way with old Muhammad Naimov. But Miles Johns is a solid fighter. What? I can't remember that fight where he had a... What was it? What happened here? It was a draw? Against Dan Argueta? It goes down as a draw.
He was trying to get like backpacks on him, and it was honestly all over the place and not all that fun. But it was like, oh, what do you count more, the damage or the grappling? And one judge had a draw. Yeah,
Castaneda subbed him. He's on he has a draw, but he is 3 for 4 in his last 4. Vince Morales he beat, which actually looks like a better win now. Cody Gibson, Douglas Silva de Andrade, who I love, by the way. I love that dude's fighting style. So yeah, Miles Johns, solid guy. I think he's well rounded. But I think that Felipe Lima is literally just like, this dude's different. And I think that he is a straight up G. I faded him. I said Muhammad Naimov would smoke him. And I mean, I literally, like, I don't do this often. And Hank knows this. You guys know this. Like, I don't look at a prospect coming in on short notice in his UFC debut and go, dude, this guy is like, has some potential. That could have been just like a night where he just shined and showed up. Maybe that was his best performance, but I'm gonna ride with this dude. Felipe Lima. I don't know how he gets it done. I haven't seen enough of him. This guy's got fucking hands. This guy's got subs. He subbed Naimov, who is like a daggy wrestler or whatever. I don't think he's from I think he's from he's from Tajikistan, Naimov is. But yeah, just like Eastern European wrestler guy, he fucking beat the shit out of him and subbed him. So
Destroyed him.
Lima could very well get the finish. I just haven't seen enough of him to like declare, hey, he's going to sub him in the second round, first round, third round, or knock him out in that same vein. So give me Felipe Lima by decision. Hank the Tank's probably going to have a finish for him. Interested to see what round that is and what method.
It is going to be round 2 submission for
hey, you know what? I think it was round 2 sub in his last fight against Naimov, or maybe even first round. Why not go with the same one? That's not a bad option.
Thank you. Also, the fight between Miles Johns and Dan Argueta was a no contest. It wasn't a draw. So okay, I think there was like some punching, and then the referee probably screwed up during the finish or something, and that's why. But Lima by round 2 submission is just calling my name here. Lima's really good. I can just tell by the quality of performance against Muhammad Naimov on short notice that he's going to be a bigger problem for the UFC's bantamweight division than anybody thought he would be on first glance. Great heavy pressure game, accurate striking. a constant submission threat who was able to tap Naimov. Take notes, Nathaniel Wood. And on the regional scene, he was the complete package in both Brave and Octagon, mixing in takedowns with picture-perfect strikes, and he was a champion in both those promotions. I really think Lima's a good prospect, good enough to be currently training with Khamzat Chimaev and his team. So he's actually not in Brazil. He's over in, I think, the Middle East training with them. I wouldn't want to be training in the jungle either. And unfortunately, I think Miles Johns is just going to be a surprising stepping stone here on Lima's way to the bantamweight top 15. Just like Naimov, Johns is actually a solid talent with decent enough striking and grappling to pose a threat to a lot of prospects trying to enter the rankings. However, the UFC sort of chose the perfect guy to beat him in a younger, pressure-heavy grappler with knockout power to boot. This isn't going to be a Douglas Silva de Andrade fight where it's a very technical affair going tit for tat, and Johns has the power difference.
Don't you dare diss my boy Douglas Silva de Andrade. You know very well he would have knocked Miles Johns the fuck out if he was 6 years younger.
Yes. And I think did you pick Miles Johns against De Andrade in that?
No,
fight,
I didn't. I always pick Douglas Silva de Andrade. Just what are you talking about?
Yeah, I picked him as well, but that didn't work out for us, unfortunately.
No, I know.
Honestly, it was a tough fight to watch, honestly. Lima has equal amounts of speed and power and will overwhelm Johns on the feet until he gives Lima his back, no diddy, and taps out, most likely in round 2 since Lima's a finisher. Jungle Boys putting little Chapo off the elevator to the top and ending the hopes and dreams of good talent after good talent on his way there himself. So I got Lima. Crazy. His rise is pretty crazy so far.
His rise?
Yes, in more ways than one.
In what context? In what context?
As in, he got Muhammad Naimov on short notice, who I think like barely beat Nathaniel Wood, and he's like right outside the featherweight top 15, and he just smoked him like that. And now he's taking on Miles Johns, who's also like right outside the top 15. So
yeah, but is that a rise? You mean his debut? Like, how can you say that this guy's rise has been incredible? He had one fucking fight in the promotion.
Well, if he beats Miles Johns, it's going to be a rise for sure.
Okay,
a very fast one, like a speed to the top, like cut the line kind of rise.
All right, I hope so. Definitely looking forward to his fight. Sean Woodson is going to take on. Oh, go ahead.
I've told Hank how much I wanted to F Miranda during a fight companion one time.
God,
the more you know.
These people with their low quality, low entry, like to being attractive women in the sport of MMA, just because they're out there like not wearing a lot of clothes, people go declare them attractive even though they're very mid. You guys got to stop doing that, man. You guys got to stop simping for fighters. Look, do I simp for Seika Izawa's skill set? 100% I do. Do I think she is an attractive woman? Not whatsoever. Her teeth are fucked up. Is Stamp Fairtex a good-looking girl? Your mileage may vary.
Okay.
She's aight, but like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, Stamp, I love her so much. She's a good fighter, but it's like, dude, guys, you guys gotta stop with this fucking simping for MMA fighters, dude.
Simping for Stamp is very interesting. But just find some girls who are attractive and not fighters, please. Find a girlfriend. The Covington fans have convinced themselves that a guy known for cardio and building into fights won't be able to handle 5 rounds.
What? That doesn't even make any sense. The Covington fans have convinced themselves that a guy known for cardio and building into fights.
Buckley? Did he mean Buckley? The Buckley fans have convinced themselves? Yeah, because that would make more sense, right?
Maybe he's talking about Buckley. Good to see you, Mr. Toad. You're confusing the shit out of us.
Yeah, for sure. Randy Savage was there for a second. Oh, yeah. Aztec Warrior. Yes, Felipe Lima. Be honest, Cyborg is a baddie, though.
100%.
In the cage. Yeah. He looks like Vanderlei Silva in a dress. But anyway.
Sean Woodson will take on Fernando Padilla at 145, another featherweight match. Dude, do you remember who Fernando Padilla is? I'm having a hard time remembering.
He's a tall... I remember he was just a tall Mexican featherweight. And he got a nice KO or finish in his last fight or something.
Oh, wow. He's 6'1", and Sean Woodson's 6'2". Interesting.
Yeah, he's tall.
This will be like the first time Sean Woodson's fought like a featherweight of similar stature.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That'll be interesting. Yeah. It's true.
So, yeah, Sean Woodson, 12-1-1. Fighting out of St. Louis. He's 32. He is the favorite in this matchup. He is 4-1, 4-0-1 in his last 5. Split draw against Luis Saldana, or was it
this
something
image
different?
will help him come to mind. I remember he had like a one-piece hat after he won his fight. He was wearing that like Louis hat, and he got some big head kick, and then he got the Darce.
Bro, everybody's trying to do the one-piece hat thing. Like I don't.
Yeah,
I don't. Only one I remember with the one-piece hat is Nabil from One Championship.
He's just no.
But yeah, do you remember what happened in this Luis Saldana fight? Was it a split draw or was it something
that
different?
looks like a split draw? If that's a split, then it was definitely like a decision.
Maybe check that out for me while I'm breaking this down.
Yeah, I will. I will.
Fernando Padilla is 16-5. He is 4-1 in his last 5. Fighting out of Mexico, he is the slight underdog at plus 145. He's 27. 6'1 versus 6'2. Sean Woodson's tallest opponent to boot. Sean Woodson, the guy who's always like just out boxing. He used to be an amateur boxer at heavyweight. I'm sure probably everybody who's talked about this guy has told you that in recent years. But overall, though, like he is pretty good. He may not be getting all the finishes you want to see, but he is just out boxing and beating these guys pretty easily, actually, without really even stepping up into another gear. Do you have info on that?
It ended in a draw. Him versus Luis Saldana. It ended in a split draw. If it says
and so like
on the draw, it was definitely a draw.
Okay, got it. But yeah, so going to decision. Who did he? I feel like he did get a finish in one of his last fights. Nope. It's been last person he knocked out was Colin Anglin. Besides that, decision to Bazooka Splitty to Charles Jourdain, which I feel like was a UD, and then a pretty close fight against Alex Caceres. I thought he won. Hank the Tank, I think, is out on that. On the other side, Fernando Padilla getting a lot of finishes on the regional scene, knocking out Juicy J, which he's kind of a guy that's hit or miss, kind of chinny. But he did get a sub in his last fight via Darce. This seems like Fernando is going to have the striking or this grappling advantage. Woodson's going to have the striking advantage. This is a really interesting matchup just size-wise, but honestly, I don't see how I can really pick against Sean Woodson. I'm going to pick him by decision. Just keep the train rolling. Hopefully he gets a finish, though, because he's another one of those fighters that is going to need to get a finish because I think the fans are starting to sour on him a little bit. Just having close fights with Caceres, Charles Jourdain. Yeah. He needs to get a finish, especially one thing that we should talk about is like this is the last card of the year. I know it's not in relative terms like any more significant than any other card. It's not a pay-per-view, obviously, but this is the last card that we think of after the year ends. You know, after we have our month-long break. So you gotta have a good performance on this card. So yeah, hopefully he does get something. Hopefully something exciting happens, but I do expect Woodson to just kind of keep it safe, cruise to a decision again.
And I agree with Idaho Skatesman. Also, what is up, Anakin MMA? Best SkateTank MMA clip channel of the game. Good to see you. I have Sean Woodson by decision. Picking Fernando Padilla as an underdog is very tempting here, but I'll have to still stick with Sean Woodson getting this one done by close decision. His trademark at this point in his UFC career, unfortunately. Simeon's height and reach disadvantages are just unfair. Easy to use in order to keep himself out of trouble, and in the pocket with the boxing, he usually gets the better of his opponents at featherweight. Fernando Padilla is an exciting and very explosive fighter, chinning Julian Erosa out cold and showing his range recently with the Darce choke on Luis Pujuelo. But he's dealt with a tall, bald technical striker before in Kyle Nelson, and he got beaten pretty decisively for 3 rounds. And that's the kind of fight that I think Woodson prefers. Despite his nickname being Sniper, Woodson ain't chinning anybody. If any fighter is finding a finish in this bout, it's actually Padilla. But the fact that Padilla has been schooled by a tall, rangy guy before tells me that Woodson can do the same, especially if he survives this thing for 3 rounds and the fight goes to a decision, because he'll win on the judges' scorecards, whether it's fair or not. He's had the close decision go his way 2 consecutive times before this, including against Alex Caceres, who I think beat him. And as much as Padilla can put up an esfuerzo valiente, as his moniker implies, Woodson can narrowly outbox him and steal this one. I can just see it. Caesar by split. This planet belongs to the apes. And on a serious note, if you're going to bet on an underdog, this is definitely one of the ones to choose in Fernando Padilla. But I am still picking Sean Woodson. Yeah, and Anakin MMA has Woodson as well. He's definitely not a lock. Definitely not a lock.
Next fight is a lightweight. In my opinion, this is a banger. This is a banger of a fight. Drakkar Klose taking on Joel Alvarez. Drakkar Klose, he is 4-1 in his last 5, 15-2 in his overall record, plus 265 underdog. 36 years old. Joel Alvarez 4-1 in his last 5, minus 340 favorite, pretty big favorite there. I think not the biggest we've seen. I think Miranda Maverick still might be a bigger favorite. I'm actually kind of curious now. Sorry.
Yeah.
Let me derail the show here. There's no odds on top. 350. Yes, so far it's Miranda Maverick. But yeah, 21-3, fighting out of Spain, 31 years old is Alvarez. This is a really good fight. Now, Drakkar Klose lost that fight to Benny D. And that's such a fucking awesome fight. I can't remember what card that was on. 4 years ago. I think that was on the Khabib versus Conor card, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Let me check that.
I can't remember. It was like soon after that. Anyway, since then he's on a 4-fight win streak, knocking out Brandon Jenkins, who's I don't actually remember who that. I thought that one dude was Brendan Jenkins, the guy on BKFC.
It was
Rafa Garcia, mid fighter.
It was the big UFC 248 Adesanya and Romero card, and also the first fight between Joanna Jędrzejczyk. That was a fantastic pay-per-view. Aside from
that's right, that Weili and Joanna card. Because honestly, that Yoel versus Izzy fight was terrible, and I remember it being especially terrible since Weili and Joanna was so fantastic. But yeah, since then, he's beating some less than reputable fighters. Had that really sick KO via slam against Selecki.
Yeah,
that was in UFC Austin. Yeah, yep. Hey, there you go. You remember. But yeah, I mean, Drakkar Klose, looking good, but not 36 at lightweight is a shitty place to be if you haven't already seen the title or title opportunity, right? We'll talk about that with another fighter up the card. Joel Alvarez, on the other hand, 31. He's probably hit his max potential as well. But just from what I've seen out of these two guys, I think that Drakkar Klose, he needs to be in control the majority of the fight to win, in my opinion. But on the other side, Joel Alvarez is a guy who sometimes he shows up and he looks like a top 5 lightweight.
Yeah.
Sometimes he shows up and he gets fucking absolutely dusted and bullied by Arman Sarukian. Overall, he is kind of a weight bully. He's a lot bigger. Go ahead.
He's number 1 contender right now.
Who is? Oh, Arman. Oh yeah, 100%. That's definitely a good caveat. But yeah, just sometimes he just doesn't show up and he doesn't look like that guy that's like a top 5 contender. Overall, though, I do think that I do have KO up there. I'm kind of tentative on that. I think that these guys will have a dogfight, and you will see that happen. But I also do feel like Drakkar Klose has kind of tightened up a lot of his defensive flaws since getting knocked out from Beneil. I don't know, man. This is going to be a really good fight. I do think that Joel Alvarez wins. Whether or not he gets a finish, I'm not entirely sure about.
Wow.
I think he's more well-rounded. I think that I'm giving Drakkar Klose a lot of credit here. I think that it's probably a 30-27, maybe even a 30-26. You might see a 10-8 round in there where Drakkar Klose almost gets finished. But overall, I think that Alvarez just has a really good performance, whether or not he gets a finish or not. Give me Joel Alvarez.
Well, I'm sticking with what Skatesman had in mind initially for this fight, and I'm going with Joel Alvarez by round 2 knockout. Drakkar Klose has finally made it to a level of competition that beats him, and I'm actually thankful for that, as his fights against Joaquin Silva and Rafa Garcia are pretty mid. Dude's just way too tentative to land a definitive blow that puts his opponents away, and during his exchanges, you just have no confidence that he'll finish the job. That combined with his mid-level grappling is why I'm going with Joel Alvarez to clearly win this thing. Drakkar Klose leaves his fights too close, whereas Alvarez has the main intention of finishing his fights, getting ground and pound after Darce choke, after uppercut, after armbar, is ready to end his opponent. And Klose just doesn't have that killer instinct. And while he tries to go back and forth with Alvarez and win an exchange or shoot a failed takedown, I think that Alvarez is going to throw a knee up the middle or an elbow breaking from the clinch that just stuns Klose. And then on the mat, I think he's going to batter Drakkar until the referee has to stop it. Difference in offense, difference in power threat, difference in height and reach advantage. And Klose hasn't faced this level of competition since Dariush. So give me Alvarez to prove why he's El Fenomeno and why the UFC can book a Spain card for Topuria in the future, because this guy's one of the few Spanish fighters that's actually getting some W's for the company. Also, I want to mention there is a bigger favorite on this card than Yoel Alvarez, and his name is Navajo Sterling. So there you go.
We'll get into that. What is up, AJ? He says the UAPs are here, homie. Yeah. Obviously, AJ, a New Jersey resident. There's like all these weird reports of drones. Over here in Oregon, they or over here, I live really close to the Oregon border. They were saying like they saw some weird shit in the sky and they had to turn around. Look, if you guys haven't already seen that Joe Rogan podcast with that Air Force guy or like Navy fighter pilot guy, I advise you highly to go watch that. Look, I'm not sitting here saying like UFOs are 100% real and confirmed. This is not the podcast for that. But damn, that fucking Navy fighter pilot guy makes a really interesting case for a unidentified flying object of sorts that he encountered multiple times. Yeah, super interesting. Sure, but it's just regardless, super interesting podcast. Yeah. I think that that's probably what it is. This is a similar thing.
Sure. Now we get very interested in this. UFOs everywhere. I'm sorry, this is not a UFO. Yeah,
never seen this guy in the chat. As soon as we start talking about UFOs, this guy pops up. He's also has a pineapple for his profile picture. Super sick. AJ says he's been researching it for a year. It's 100% legit. Look, again, all I'm saying is listen to that podcast with Joe Rogan did with that Navy fighter pilot. Super interesting stuff. Anyway, next fight.
Yeah. Shoreline.
Michael Johnson is going to take on Ottman Azaitar, the potatoes guy.
Yes.
Dude, what a weird fucking matchup, dude. I love this fight because something weird is guaranteed to happen, and I love weird and crazy shit. Speaking of that, Joanna and Zhang fight, and then Yoel and Izzy happened afterwards. I was one of the few people that absolutely loved Yoel versus Izzy because of how stupid it was. It was pure entertainment for me. So I'm hoping we get some more weird shit going on. This is at 155 pounds. Michael Johnson, 22-19. Jeez. 38 years old. He is minus 185. He is the favorite. Jeez.
Yes.
That's insane. He is 3-2 in his last 5. Win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. If the record is any indication of what's going to happen, the pattern here, he will lose this fight. Ottman Azaitar is 13-2. His last 2 losses, or his only 2 losses, coming in his most recent fights. Before that, he had 3 fights and his 3 wins in his last 5. He is plus 155 as an underdog fighting out of Morocco. He's 34. So what do you know about Ottman Azaitar?
I know that I believe he was on steroids or EPO at some point, and like they made an excuse for it as like, oh, it's potatoes. Oh, I'm bringing potatoes in, brother. There's nothing wrong with these.
No. You're getting that completely wrong.
Okay, I'm completely wrong.
He was on the Fight Island card, one of the Fight Island cards,
right?
Okay, and somebody had brought him in a bag of something, and they did not disclose what it was. For that, and remember, he was like scaling the hotel to bring it to him, whatever it was. Okay. Ali Abdelaziz is the one who said he was potatoes. Okay. He's the one that said it. So don't believe anything he says. By the way, what's up, Isha? Listening as I drive home
Hey.
from a wild game. They got destroyed, but a great fight at
Aw.
center ice. There you go. That's all that matters.
Yeah, how's their record, by the way? How are they doing?
But so I'll just quickly go into what Ottman Zaitar is all about. This guy is known for criminal activity and extorting the king of Morocco. Karim Zidane writes a very interesting article about him and his brother Abu and some of the things that they've done inside of Morocco at behest of the king being in their corner. I don't want to get into all of it here, but definitely go check out the article by Karim Zidane. Karim Zidane, one of the few people actually doing journalism inside of the sport, by the way. Anyway, so it's weird to like say, but like his record could just be completely fabricated based on building him up, as this like guy that, Jaden implying some things. Definitely involved in criminal activity. I wouldn't go as far to say that. But Michael Johnson is completely washed. The one thing that he has not lost, though, which is very interesting, is his hand speed. He's still very, very fast. I understand why he is the favorite here. This is a volatile fight. If you're betting on this fight, I would advise against it. I think Ottman Zaitar is a decent favorite in this one. I'm kind of torn here because I feel like Michael Johnson probably should win this fight, but the one thing you can't say about Ottman Zaitar is he doesn't have power. This guy has a lot of power. He definitely, if he lands a good shot, I thought that he was going to destroy Matt Frevola when they fought. Honestly,
steamroller.
And then he fucking got slept by Matt Frevola. Again, these fights against these guys, like he was on an all knockout streak, and then he got knocked out by Francisco Prado again, who's another killer. I know that Michael Johnson has the ability to land that big shot, but man, I have a hard time picking this fight. I might honestly wait for Hank the Tank to kind of break this one down before I make an official pick.
Crap. I'm going with Michael Johnson by round 2 knockout. The potato smuggler, Ottman Zaitar, stinks. He's been finished in his last 2 fights by Matt Frevola, Ottman, and Matt Frevola and Francisco Prado, and he's been looking pretty mid on the feet without steroids. Even in his regional career, Zaitar was getting wobbled on the feet against certain opponents before finding his way back and getting some miraculous late fight knockout. Against a gritty and always in it veteran like Michael Johnson, I really don't think that Zaitar is going to have anything for Johnson unless he hits him with that perfect overhand right that Diego Ferreira and Josh Emmett caught him with. Johnson's still pretty solid on the feet at 38 years old, whereas Zaitar hasn't looked good in a long time. In fact, I don't know if he was ever really good when he wasn't on the drugs. So for that reason, I'm going with Michael the Menace, also known professionally as MJ or Michael Jackson, to style on old Otto and bulldoze the bulldozer, even finding the chin of his Zaitar halfway through the fight and putting him away. He's that low level and putting his fellow Moroccan Yusuf Salal to shame, I tell you. So I'm going with Johnson.
So you think that he is no longer on steroids?
Probably still is somehow, some way.
Okay. It's just weird that you would say, well, he was on drugs and then imply that he's not still on drugs. But I don't think he's ever failed. He's never failed a test. There's actually no proof that he has ever done steroids.
Except the potatoes.
No, that's not proof at all. Like I said, he never got popped.
Whenever Ali Abdelaziz says something, it's opposite day.
You know what? I think just for parity, I'm going to just go ahead and pick Ottman in this fight. I think that his only way to get it done is to knock out Michael Johnson, who has been chinny at times. Again, another fighter that at this stage in his career, you don't know exactly which one's going to show up. I do think that, like, actually, you know what? It's hard to pick him. I don't know if Johnson knocks him out. I'm gonna go with him by decision.
Damn it!
If I'm actually gonna pick a third round knockout for Michael Johnson because I think that Ottman with his giant muscles and I don't think he has any cardio. Actually, I think that's probably gonna be his biggest Achilles heel in this fight if he doesn't get outright chinned in the early rounds. So yeah. Give me Michael Johnson knockout third round.
Good question.
Next fight
Jaden
is.
Lazowski. Didn't the GOAT Artem Lobov beat Johnson's ass? Did he? He's had a lot of fights in his career. Isn't he like, yeah, no Diddy. But he is 22-19. So who has he fought?
He's fought
Artem
everybody.
Lobov. No, he beat Artem Lobov. He beat him by unanimous decision, but everybody's like, oh, Artem Lobov's the GOAT. So he totally beat him. But Michael Johnson did beat the ass of Artem Lobov. No Diddy. This is hard for me to say, but I was abducted last night. Not by aliens. Yeah. Anyway, next fight.
So the next fight will be at light heavyweight. Navajo Sterling is going to take on a man named Tuco Tokos.
Taco.
I've seen this guy fight. I'm just not familiar with him.
Once.
Navajo Sterling just got into the UFC off Contender Series, knocking out some guy in a fight that was terrible up until Navajo Sterling knocked him out. I don't think Navajo Sterling like really impressed me all that much. Also, he's a New Zealand man named Navajo, and he's white as a fucking ghost. I don't know. It's just weird to me. The whole this guy. Speaking of aliens, this fucking guy might be an alien.
Sean Woodson too. They're brothers.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hey, they're brothers. He is 27 though. He is perfect in his career, 5-0. Fighting out of Auckland. Tuco Tacos, on the other hand, is a guy who got subbed by Omar C. Made everybody all horny for Omar C. Going, he's the guy. He's Maori. I don't give a fuck if he's Maori or if he does some weird, stupid face that those stupid Maori people do. And they're like, it's tradition. No, it's fucking stupid. It's fucking stupid is what it is. You look like a retard. Wow. I don't care if it's tradition. Yeah, it's stupid. The haka. Yeah, that shit's weird. I don't give a shit if it's tradition. You guys should change your customs and traditions. Wow. Screw all you people. That shit's fucking strange. Get it the fuck out of here.
That's Colby.
He's a native New Zealander. Good for him. Yeah. No, I mean, but it's stupid. If all your customs and traditions are stupid, stop doing them. Make new customs and traditions. What are we doing?
American.
Anyway, but they're dumb. I mean, okay, you think the haka and all the weird, stupid faces that Kai fucking Car France does are cool?
No,
they're dumb. I mean, are they dumb?
Outside of Australia, they are. But in Australia, they're
New Zealand.
Cool.
In Australia, they're probably stupid as fuck too. Idaho, you being racist and native Kiwis. I don't give a shit. They do stupid shit. It looks dumb. They should stop doing it. I don't care if it's their customs and traditions. Stop doing it if it's dumb.
Cancel Skatesman.
Yeah, whatever. Anyway, Tuco Tacos. He is 3-2 in his last 5. Everybody got all horny when Omar C subbed this guy. Now he's a plus 380 underdog against this stupid Kiwi. He did get a knockout in Fury, which is a reputable organization. Shooto Brazil. And he was in Road to the UFC. He got knocked out by Ming Yang Zhang. I mean, not losing to the worst guys. He is 34 going up against this 27-year-old prospect training out of is he with City Kickboxing? He is. Overall, this is a setup fight to give Navajo Sterling a win. He did knock out his last opponent, Philip Lateau. He's knocked out everybody except for his debut fight. Will he knock out Tuco Tacos? Probably. Took him by second round knockout. Light heavyweight is terrible. Terrible division. If this guy has any ounce of skill, he could probably make it in the top 15 pretty soon. So yeah, give me Navajo Sterling, the white alien-looking man with stupid customs, whose name is Navajo, and he's from New Zealand.
Wow, how cruel. I'm going with Navajo Sterling by round 1 knockout. Easy money. That's all there is to say. Easy money for Sterling 2.0 and Navajo Sterling. Tuco Tacos got subbed in first round by Umar C, who we now see is nowhere near as talented as I thought he was after that horrific win against Dawu Zhang on UFC Fight Night Paris. Before that,
Dawu Zhang is actually pretty good.
He is pretty good, but he still looked like crap. Before that, on the regionals, he was being given 1-7 opponents, and then won his last regional fight due to his opponent sustaining an arm injury. Yeah, super clean and prestigious rise to the top here for Tuco Salamanca. Now that he's been shown levels by a light heavyweight who we now know isn't even that good, looks like Tuco is going to be the UFC's new fall guy for this division. And what better way to introduce City Kickboxing's shiny new toy, kickboxer prospect, coming off a win on the Contender Series, then feed him a sucker who fluked his way into the company. I know it took Sterling 2 rounds to put away Philippe Latu, but at least he was 6-1 going into that fight. 2 bads, 10-4. I think Sterling gets him out of there in round 1, just like the overly hyped up Umar Sy did. Big knockout with all the bitter fury of Navajo Joe. And even though Pennywise usually has children on the menu, he'll settle for tacos Saturday night.
Jaden, what words will I be eating? I'm picking him by knockout to win this.
Also,
fight.
it's not eat your words. It's heat them in a microwave, apparently, and set it to 30 seconds in a minute time.
Yeah, I don't understand. Just because I think Kiwi customs are stupid, which they are. You're saying I'm going to eat my words? I don't give a fuck if this guy's a UFC champion. I'm going to still say that his customs are fucking dumb, because they are. All the stupid faces they make.
That's true. They need more fast food chains.
Taco Tacos is going to sleep. Tuco is the guy from Breaking Bad?
Yes, Tuco Salamanca. That is what
I live in Auckland, so I might be slightly biased. Yeah,
just a little bit, tiny bit.
Are you Maori, Jaden? Can you explain to me why all the customs that they have is really stupid?
Gotta be. There's no other reason he defended that stringently.
I mean, they're really dumb. I don't know. Anyway.
Wow. Anger from the skate.
Okay, I mean, but like, really though, like, okay, I want to find this. I want to find this picture of Kai Kara France. What did he do to fucking Steve Urseg? Yeah. Oh my gosh, I found it's the first picture that pops up. I have to show this.
Again, he looks like
show this picture.
He looks like Francis McNormand in Nomadland.
I don't know who that is. Nobody knows who that is. Look at this. I mean, just look at this. This is like, how can you look at this picture and say that this isn't stupid?
Yeah. It's lame.
I mean, it's super lame. It's dumb. Like, it's tradition. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. It looks stupid as hell. Stop doing it. Anyway.
Yeah. Boo.
Yeah. Kai will get the belt, no cap. Yeah, definitely no cap, because Cap isn't getting it. It's called a puaka. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. It's stupid.
Terrible.
And that's a dumb name for it too. It's tradition. It's called a pukana. Yeah, it's fucking dumb.
Mocking an entire centuries long history is the Idaho Skatesman right now.
I don't care if it's a centuries long history. It's fucking stupid.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry, your 21st century brain can't handle it.
As a white, you wouldn't get it. I'm Mexican.
He's Mexican.
Anyway, Daniel Marcos versus Adrian Yanez is the next fight. It is a bantamweight fight. This is a fantastic fight as well. Daniel Marcos, 16-0. He did have why does it say he had a fucking, he kicked Arichi-Lang in the balls, or did Arichi-Lang kick him in the balls? I think Arichi-Lang kicked him in the balls. He is Peruvian, training in Florida. He's 31.
They went tit for tat in terms of balls kicking. I think Marcos did it last.
Adrian Yanez is 17-5. He is 3-2, 3-2 in his last fight, fighting out of Houston, Texas. And he is 31. Two 31-year-old bantamweights gonna have a good scrap here. Adrian Yanez at one point was looking like that dude in the bantamweight division. And then he ran into Super Chad. He ran into Rob Font, and Jonathan Martinez leg kicked the shit out of him.
Yeah,
he did come back with a knockout of Vinicius Salvador in his last fight. Daniel Marcos, on the other hand, has looked okay. He hasn't been blowing the doors off of the UFC. Anytime somebody gets in the UFC off of a decision win on the Contender Series, I'm always Did get a knockout against Simon Oliveira, decent opponent. Davey Grant split decision. Arichi-Lang, they kicked each other in the balls. And then Castaneda, who is a pretty mid fighter, got a decision win against. This is a good fight, man. I'm gonna have to probably pick Adrian Yanez in this fight. Does he get a knockout? I'm not sure. But I do think that just having enough high level experience, coming off of momentum, getting a knockout in his last fight, I think I am going to pick Adrian Yanez in this fight. Although I do think it is a competitive fight. I think that one man will clearly take over the fight, and as the fight progresses, you'll kind of just clearly see who's going to win by the third round. Give me Yanez. Get it done. Also, he is training out of Houston. Obviously, Marco's hometown guy. He is from Peru, but he is training in Boca Raton. Which, by the way, do you know what Boca Raton means?
I have heard it plenty of times. Is it?
It means a rat's mouth.
Wow, that is flattering.
Yeah, I think that's what it
Neat.
Oh, I gotta fact check myself. But yeah, give me Adrian Yanez to beat Daniel Marcos.
By the way, we got to go through some comments. Skatesman is based. We the goats at rugby, according to Jaden Lazowski. I will not refute that.
Stupid traditions still.
I'm high key laughing even though you're insulting the natives. Well, at least he's funny. You could be a Spaniard, yes, and he could also be a Frenchman. They are cool people, but those tribal dances are something else. You lads think Colby can put. We'll get to it. Jaden Lazowski. The more you know, rat mouth. I'm going with Daniel Marcos by decision. Battle of the Davey Grant victims here. Daniel Marcos has had a strange career since being signed on the Contender Series by Dana White in 2022. He beat Simon Oliveira, who I had no idea existed in the UFC until I saw the result. Then just barely beat Davey Grant by split decision, and it's very arguable that Grant deserved to win that fight instead of Marcos. After that, he just has a weird who can kick the other guy in the balls harder contest with Aori Shileng, which he won by the narrowest of margins, resulting in a no contest instead. And finally, he got a good win recently against John Castaneda.
It makes sense.
Who
he won by the narrowest of margins, and then it turned him in no contest.
He won a who can kick the other guy in the balls contest. He got the last laugh. So there you go. And then finally, he beat John Castaneda, schooled him on the feet, and showed the MMA world that he's actually a threat in the bantamweight division. Adrian Yanez, meanwhile, also had a hairy split decision win against Davey Grant. Almost got finished by Tony Kelly. What?
Harry?
Adrian Yanez, Davey Grant.
You said it was a hairy split decision win?
Oh, yeah, it was a hairy split decision win. It was wasn't exactly a clean win. It was hairy. Yeah, Wizard Harry. Almost got finished by Tony Kelly in an embarrassing moment. Suffered 2 consecutive losses to more technical strikers in Rob Font and Jonathan Martinez, and then was having a fairly competitive fight in the first round with Vinicius Salvador before knocking him out. Looking at both guys' last 5 fights, I think Marcos has more stock and confidence going into this fight than Adrian Yanez. He's finally proved he can go 3 rounds and look both powerful and dominant for the first time maybe in his entire UFC run, while Yanez is coming off a knockout win against a guy the UFC was clearly laying up for him. And if he does have confidence in this matchup, it is severely bloated. Vinicius Salvador is not Marcos. He doesn't have the size, the speed, the technique, or the pressure that Marcos possesses. And if Yanez tries his clean boxing shit on the back foot, Marcos is going to make him pay against the cage with teep kicks and nasty combinations, resulting in, at the very least, 2 out of the 3 rounds going Marcos' way, and a major statement against a proven bantamweight that the Peruvians no joke. Most Peruvians in MMA aren't, and that his future opponents should actually take him very seriously. Damn, Daniel. I got him.
Unless their name is Claudio Poyes.
Yes, and then watch out. He'll knee bar Daniel Marcos.
I guess the real question is, does Daniel Marcos show up with red hair?
Figueredo stripe, Figueredo red stripe in the hair. I'll give him his powers.
Jaden says, thoughts on Mark Hunt?
Love Mark Hunt. First guy to actually beat Vanderlei Silva in Pride. First guy to beat him. Legend. Love the invented walk-off knockout.
It's not like Vanderlei wasn't way fucking undersized to fight Mark Hunt. But yeah. I mean, look, Mark Hunt is fighting a feudal battle against the corporate machine that is the UFC. He's probably never going to win it, but bless his heart, I hope that he can get compensated because
or maybe go over to the Global Fight League and lose some more brain cells for a retirement fund.
Yeah, isn't it funny that a lot of the fighters in the GFL draft, which by the way, they haven't been drafted yet, caveat, a lot of those fighters claim that they have brain damage and are trying to get money out of the UFC for that reason. And now they're going to go fight.
Lose more brain cells.
Dustin Jacoby versus Vitor Petrino at 205 is the next fight. Dustin Jacoby, 19-9-1. Vitor Petrino is 11-1. Dustin Jacoby, 36. He's 1-4 in his last 5. Damn, that sucks. Vitor Petrino, he was undefeated until he ran into the Gilly Goose gang of Anthony Smith. He's 27-6-2.
Rest in peace.
Shit, man. You know what? I really do like Dustin Jacoby. I like his style. He's a good kickboxer. But he is just not seeing a lot of success inside the UFC. He got annihilated by Dominic Reyes, which sucks. Menafield beat him. Competitive fight. He did knock out Kennedy and Zetchiku before Kennedy went on this nice run that he's on. Lost the decision to Osman Mirzakhanov and split decision to Khalil Roundtree Jr. So his last loss is pretty much his what?
In my opinion, he beat Khalil.
Okay.
So
well,
I count that as
nobody cares about that. But yeah, Dustin Jacoby, I think his last loss has been the most consequential for his career. Same with Vitor Petrino, it was his only loss in MMA. Yeah, I mean, I just feel bad because I think that Dustin Jacoby loses this fight, and he probably gets stopped. I think if Dominic Reyes can stop him, I think Vitor Petrino can.
Good.
He's not too far off in height. I feel like the length and the distance game that Jacoby can employ is how he usually wins fights. Vitor Petrino, if he can get past that reach, I think he's got this one in the bag. Gonna get inside and hit Dustin with a good hook. But listen, Dustin Jacoby can still win this fight by decision. Okay, I'm not gonna count him completely out, but I would probably be stupid for not picking Vitor Petrino round 1, round 2 KO. But yeah, that's my pick for this one. What say you?
Yeah, I'm going with Petrino by round 1 KO. The reasoning behind this pick isn't too hard to figure out. If Dustin Jacoby can get put out by Dominic Reyes in the first round, get dropped over and over again by Alonzo freaking Menafield to fumble the fight that he was winning, there's no way that Petrino doesn't chin him at some point in this fight and put him out cold. The Hanyak's looking mad whack in near every recent fight he's had, aside from a solid performance against Khalil Roundtree and a perfectly timed counter right against Kennedy Nzechukwu. Other than that, the glass cannon's been beat up, schooled, and now put out by his competition. The chin's faded, guys, and Petrino's putting a nail in its coffin. Never mind that his finishes have come a little too late in his fights sometimes. The dude is young, strong as hell, and has power in his fists. If he's worth his salt at all, he puts Jacoby out in the first round with a well-timed strike. Otherwise, he ain't UFC material. Head out to Karate Combat, dude. You're not ready for the best in the world. I personally think the young man still has a lot of potential left. So for his own good, he better dust Dustin and become the light heavyweight icon that his nickname implies. So give me him by round 1 knockout. For his own good.
All right. Next fight. Oh, by the way, Dustin Jacoby.
To inflict pain.
Yeah, maybe.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, good to see you drunken boxing.
Hank spitting facts. Jacoby clearly beat Khalil. Getting CT over cage fighting is part of the game. They do love
after
it, but
cage
it is
fighting. Yeah, I know, but like you can't be part of a lawsuit trying to sue somebody for an organization for damages. It's claiming you have brain damage and you need to be compensated for it, and then go fight in another fight league. Like that's, I mean, not only is that weird, but like any reputable commission should look at that and go, you cannot fight, sir.
Right.
But hey, if GFL has all their fights in Texas, they'll be good.
Woo! What else was I going to say? Oh, also, I believe the lawsuit or the trial has reached its conclusion pretty much. There's a settlement offer the UFC gave out, and it's already being distributed. I think it's pretty much at an end. So it's not happening like at the same time that the trial's still taking place. Is like just after the trial kind of wrapped up. So. But it's still a little hypocritical.
Yeah. 100%.
We'll agree with Skatesman on that one.
But yeah, Dustin Jacoby, a man who once won a boxing match, a kickboxing match, and an MMA match all in the same night.
Yeah, he is a kickboxing veteran, and then Alex Pereira just boom, woo, put the lights out, glass cannon.
Yeah, super base level knowledge there. No, he won an MMA match, a kickboxing match, and a boxing match in the same night. That is fucking impressive. I don't know how many men in the world can say they've done that. So always like Dustin Jacoby, even though he probably gets chinned in this one.
Kittens, spitting cats, spitting grats. A lot comes out of Hanks the Tank's mouth, not for free. Mark Hunt ain't the sharpest knife in the knife drawer, but damn, he's a badass. Might want to rephrase that. Yeah, next fight.
Manel Kape is going to take on Bruno Silva. Flyweight matchup. Can Bruno Silva become the next #1 contender with a win over Manel Kape? Possibly. 19-7 is the record for Manel Kape. He last lost to Muhammad Mokaev in a very boring fight. He's apparently from Portugal. He's 31. 4-1 in his last 5. On the other side, Bruno Silva is 4-1 in his last 5, plus 230 underdog. Plus 230 underdog. 34 years old. Look, Bruno Silva had a really good performance in his last fight against Cody Durden, where he got hurt, came back and finished off old Cody Durden 3 months ago, actually. But look, I mean, he's got wins, huh?
Yeah, recent, but JP Bay is meh. I just agreed with you that it was recent. It was 3 months ago.
Yeah. Last losing to Tagir Ulanbekov 4 years ago. Then he he beats JP Buys. Victor Rodriguez, who's actually a decent fighter. Tyson Nam, who has a lot of CTE these days. And then Cody Durden. On the other side, Manel Kape, Ode Osborne, Zalgas Zumagulov, who is actually a really good fighter. David Dvorak, Felipe Dos Santos, decent fighter, and then Muhammad Mokaev, he lost to. Neither of these guys have very, very credible wins inside the UFC, in my opinion. Manel Kape, 1 second. His biggest issue is that he does not throw enough strikes. He's too inactive. He's looking for the big shot. Sometimes he gets it, sometimes he doesn't. And the reason that I'm not going to pick Bruno Silva in this fight is basically just because of his age. I think that Manel Kape is a better athlete. But I do wholeheartedly think that Bruno Silva has a good chance to win this fight, has the right game for it. I honestly don't think Manel Kape is even all that good. I want to see him fight Kaya Sakura, get that third fight, and then that'll be fun. Just that's the only fight I really care about for Manel. Overall, again, he just doesn't throw enough strikes. I think that Bruno Silva could literally just outvolume him. His best way to get it done is by KO, but I'm going to go the safe side and pick him by decision.
Smart. I'm going with Kape by decision as well. Manel Kape is at a crossroads in his career with this one. He had a not so impressive decision win against Felipe Dos Santos, withdrew from a layup fight against Mateu Nicolau twice, and then had a somewhat close but pretty unimpressive decision loss against his biggest rival in the UFC, or should I say former rival in the UFC, Muhammad Mokaev. Good luck and brave, buddy. We'll miss you, truly. Now he needs a win here against Bruno Silva, flyweight Bruno Silva, in order to finally regain his momentum and upward trajectory in the division as a flyweight dark horse. And I think he finds a way to do it. He's never been knocked out in his flyweight career, and that's including his stint in Ryzen, which is just nothing but knockouts. So I think his striking defense is strong enough to withstand the bum rushes and overall striking power of that feisty bulldog, Bruno Silva. And since Bruno Silva isn't one to win a decision at flyweight, I think if this fight makes it 3 rounds, 15 minutes, Kape does enough good work in 2 of those rounds to win the fight with his speed, technical ability, takedown defense, and better killer instinct. Plus, I don't rate a lot of Bruno Silva's wins at flyweight. Tyson Nam's Tyson Nam. JP Bays is probably crying somewhere. He still lost to David Dvorak, and that's sort of a quality check loss right there. And was getting his ass kicked on the feet and on the ground against Cody Durden before the random uppercut put him out. I think Cap's one of Silva's more technical opponents he's dealt with, and I don't see him figuring the base chef's puzzle out, so he gets cooked. What you looking at? What are you looking at, pussy? Cartoon porn addiction. So give me the base chef Manel Cap to get another win, surprisingly.
Let's see which one of you takes. Bruno. Mokayev is fighting this week too. When I drink beer, I tend... Yeah, interesting. Cap by KO. Cap is going to be gun shy again? Interesting. And like I said, he just doesn't throw enough strikes is his main problem. You fellows going to be covering the Tyson versus Usyk fight. Yeah, no shit.
I probably will.
Cap keeps overrated. I'll take him in the spot, though. Bruno Silva is super dangerous. Getting fired after a win over Cap is crazy. Taking the Chad Bruno. Cap can't afford to be good. Oh, interesting. Lots of narratives going around this fight. The next fight is a shitty, terrible, washed up co-main event between Cub Swanson and Billy Q. At featherweight. Cub Swanson, 29-14. Jeez, 41 years old. He is the slight underdog in this fight. He is 2-3 in his last 5. Billy Q, 2-3 in his last 5 as well. He's 18-6, 36 years old. Look, this would have been a really good, and it probably still will be a decent fight. These two are totally fucking washed. This co-main event kind of blows.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that Tapology has this 50-50, actually. In my opinion, Billy Q is the less washed out of these two washed fighters. Billy Q, incredible cardio. A little bit more well-rounded than Cub Swanson. But I think that where Billy Q is going to struggle is the speed of Cub Swanson. He's very fast. I think that he is outsizing Cub by a decent margin in this fight. It says Cub's 5'8". I think he's a little shorter than that. I think Cub's a little shorter than that, honestly. But yeah, I think that I think Billy Q's got this in the bag, and I think eventually he'll put out Cub by the 3rd round. Might be a decision win, but I'm thinking Billy Q actually finishes Cub Swanson here in this spot. What about you?
And I'm picking Cub. I'm picking Cub to beat him by decision. I just think that Billy Quarantillo, he's had fights with some veterans like Edson Barbosa, who put him out cold, perfectly timed knee strike. He's never really impressed me. That fight with Damon Jackson was very tit for tat, very competitive. And then against Yusuf Zalal, he just got beat easily. I just feel like he's not as aggressive as Cub's going to be in this fight. Because remember, people forget, man, he went to a split decision with Andre Touchy-Feely, who I actually consider to be on the same kind of like talent level as Billy Q, and he almost beat him. It was a split decision. So one judge had it for Cub. Beat Hakeem Dawodu, who, isn't great.
Sucks.
But yeah. But I feel like Cub's in this stage where he's winning very close decisions against talent that's like right outside the rankings. And I think, like Skatesman said, I think he just has the speed difference in this one. And I don't know, there's just nothing about Billy Quarantillo, Billy Q that outright impresses me or makes me think that he's going to finish this fight. It's just been such a long time since he's finished his fight. So I feel like Cub's going to be more willing to do some damage on Billy Q. Billy Q's going to probably try to grapple with him, try to go blow for blow. And I think Swanson's going to catch him in moments and win some rounds.
I mean, he's had a KO more recently than Cub Swanson has by almost a whole year. He knocked out Alexander Hernandez. Cub Swanson's last finish was against fucking Darren Elkins.
And that's actually aged pretty well, hasn't it? Nobody else is finishing Darren Elkins. Yeah. So I don't know.
Nobody else is finishing washed up old ass Darren Elkins.
I mean, it's just true. His last couple fights, they should be putting him out cold. I'm pretty sure you've picked some of Darren Elkins' opponents to knock him out cold. And then what happens? Darren Elkins gets the sub or Darren Elkins wins the decision.
You act like Darren Elkins is like on a career resurgence and he's going to like win the belt.
He's not, but he's hard to finish. He's been beaten up and he's found a way to win by round 3 KO. He's Darren the Damage Elkins. Like, not a lot of people put him out. So,
I mean, you have a good point. His last knockout loss was against Cub.
So there you go. I just think that he's good enough to go to a close decision with Andre Philly. I think he beats Billy Quarantilla, who I think might be a little bit worse than
I'm not gonna knock Billy Q for losing by sub to Yusuf Zalal though, who is like on a he's a guy on a career resurgence, definitely a younger guy. Yusuf Zalal finishes Cub Swanson, right? Like clearly he does. He last beat Hakeem Dawodu, who is not in the UFC anymore. Last got knocked out by Jonathan Martinez. That was a brutal fight to watch. That was bad. And then as you mentioned, Billy Q got knocked out by Edson Barboza. You fucking love Edson Barboza. You're like, he got knocked out by Edson. He's an old, washed up legend. It's like a lot of people probably still get knocked out by Edson if they're lower level.
Well, he got washed up by Lerone Murphy. That's for sure. I do like Edson Barboza. He's a tough son of a bitch, but he got put out in the first round easy by Edson Barboza. And he honestly didn't look that great on the feet before that knee either. I just don't think he's ready.
I feel like a lot of lower level dudes do.
Yeah.
So no, I think that this is I think it's a competitive enough fight that and I mean again, Tapology has it 50-50 too. But yeah, I think both these guys are washed up and old and probably shouldn't even be in the UFC anymore. But again, I think Billy Q has the less miles on him. And not only that, I think it's reflective just in their record. I mean, fuck, this will be Cub Swanson's I'm bad at math. 43rd fight? Fuck.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy. But yeah,
making it competitive.
Anyway, Cub Swanson is a legend.
Yeah, some guys are timeless. Immortal Matt Brown. Jaden is asking also, can we get a K1 stream? I mean, that's if it's on a Bema or it's on that Russian streaming outlet. If there's a way to stream it, maybe Skatesman will, but I don't know. It's hard to do. We've done it before though.
So K1 has a partnership with Gaiora Sports, which is like CBS Sports or ESPN in Japan. Okay, it's a TV channel. All right, Gaiora Sports is. So they have a deal with them. Now, I don't know if you living in New Zealand can get a Bema Premium, but as far as a Bema Premium goes, you cannot get it, as far as I know, without a Japanese credit card and a VPN. So there's literally no way to watch this because I think it is a pay-per-view on a Bema. Now, I have looked on Gaiora's website, and it does say that it is on their schedule, but look, okay. Well, all I'm trying to say is, if it is on Japanese TV, we can watch it. If it's only on a Bema, I cannot watch it. I can use a VPN. You can pay you. So you're telling me that you can use a VPN and you have a Japanese credit card to where you can get a Bema Premium? I think you're lying. But hey, if you can watch it, more power to you. Maybe hit. Do you have him anywhere on Discord or anything like that?
Jaden? He might be in City Life Projects Discord. I could chat with him.
Yeah, if you're on there, try to find Hank the Tank, hit him up, and if you can actually watch K1 events or Crush events, let me know. I think you're lying because, again, you have to have a Japanese credit card to sign up for a Bema Premium. So I think it's capped that you're saying that you can watch K1 in any capacity. That's not on Gaiora Japanese TV. If it's on Japanese TV, I could totally watch it. I will be watching it. I'll break it down. Do I need a Japanese credit card? Yes, you do. So yeah, maybe not. Probably not. But yeah, if there's another way to watch it, let me know. Anyway, main event.
Looking for the crowd pleaser, one shot all the time. That's not going to happen in that fight with Cub and Billy Q. They should have opened the main card. Fuck knows why it's a co-main event. I'm pretty sure it's not the first time that Cub's been in a co-main event in 2023, 2024.
Look at Hank just glazing Cub Swanson.
Yeah. I'm not. I'm saying that why is he in a co-main event in 2023 and 2024? Well, you saw the glint of the magic. Listen, he had the fight.
Wait.
Ever.
Is he a Florida guy?
The greatest fight ever with
He's from fucking California.
Oh, there you go. Both flyweights mogged this fight. Yeah, that'd be better. You watching Makayev and Brave on Friday?
No, nobody's watching that.
I won't be watching that live though. Darren the Damage Elkins. How long ago was the Edson KO? Like 1 or 2 years ago? Not long ago. I can use that factors into it. But anyway, we have our main event.
No, it doesn't.
Marquee.
Colby Covington versus Joaquin Buckley. Colby Covington, 17-4. He is 2-3 in his last 5. 36 years old. He is the underdog in this fight. Joaquin Buckley, 20-6. Fucking undefeated in his last 5 fights. He is the favorite. 30 years old. Interesting fight. I think that if this fight goes the distance, just the way that Colby, like he does have incredible cardio. I'm not going to count him out completely in this fight. I think he can totally win a decision against Joaquin Buckley in this fight. But even like peak Colby, right? And that would be him versus Robbie Lawler, right? Where he's just taking you down, hitting you with punches that don't do a lot of damage. I feel like Joaquin Buckley is the physical enough guy,
yeah,
to where he can still get out of those positions, be somewhat unaffected by that. Can Colby win this fight? Sure, totally can. He looked like shit against Leon Edwards. He did have a foot injury. We found out later.
Kick apparently.
Yeah, I'm not sure. He looked like shit. He did beat George, and that was already 2 years ago. What the fuck have I been doing with my life?
Yeah, he's sitting out waiting for that Leon Edwards title fight. Black man.
But look, I mean, he's lost to Kamaru Usman and Leon Edwards, 2 former champions. They couldn't finish. Well, Kamaru did finish him in their first fight. I'm fucking dying over here. I'm sick as fuck, guys.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. But okay, even George dropped Colby in their fight. He was not able to finish Colby. I feel like that factors into this. Overall, I mean, it's just so hard for me to not pick Joaquin Buckley at this point. I feel like in the later rounds, Colby will have an advantage, but I don't know, dude. I think we're going to find out really quick, because I think that Colby's days of being like championship level are probably over, but I'm still not sure, because we haven't even seen him fight a true contender inside of the top 10 in so long. That we just don't exactly know where Colby is in his career at this point.
Yeah. Again, questions going into this fight.
He could beat Joaquin Buckley in this fight. I don't think that that's the worst pick, but again, he's not that guy that's gonna win a title. On the Joaquin Buckley side, I mean, he's been on a hell of a run. His momentum could very well stop here with the decision win for Colby, but overall, I'm going to pick him to win. I think his best chance to win is by knockout, and I'm going to pick him by 3rd round knockout. But again, man, I'm not very confident in that pick. What say you?
I'm going with the exact same pick that you are. I'm going with Buckley by round 3 knockout. I just feel like Colby, if he does get Buckley down, he's not going to keep him down there. And he usually doesn't do that with most of his opponents, except for maybe Jorge Masvidal, who, as you pointed out, still managed to drop Colby Covington. There was still competitive in moments. But against anybody else other than Jorge Masvidal, it's like hard for him to keep his competition down on the mat. Like, they find a way to get back up and they still make it a fight. Usually a Colby Covington fight is pretty competitive. And I think with Joaquin Buckley, you make another great point that even though there have been moments where Buckley has been taken down by his opposition, like early on into his career. I think Kevin Holland was able to do that with Joaquin Buckley.
Kevin Holland locked Joaquin Buckley up.
Yes. And then who else? Who else beat the shit out of Joaquin? Oh, Logan Storley took him down at some point and managed to beat him up way back in 2018. So some of his losses have come by way of grappling, but I feel like this is a new and improved Joaquin Buckley. I think it's Buckley 2.0. He's not taller than Colby, but he's physical enough. He's strong. And even if he gets down, I feel like Buckley's going to get back up. I think he's strong enough to do it. Also, we saw Joaquin Buckley take down Nurulstan Ruzaboev with his own wrestling. So he's starting to manage with the wrestling in his own way. Yes, Nursultan Ruzaboev.
No, it's not Nursultan. It's Nursultan.
Nursultan Ruzaboev. And at the same time, if he's working on offensive grappling, I think he's working on defensive grappling as well. Also, he goes for body shots in his fights, and I feel like when he does body shots, that could lead to like an underhook when Colby's trying to go in for a takedown. I feel like he's going to stuff a few takedowns. Even the times he does get taken down, he's not going to be in trouble. And I think on the feet, Colby Covington, he's been cracked by guys who have turned out to be not so great for the UFC, like in fights after that. Like there are guys who on the feet are pretty overrated who have knocked Colby Covington out or have dropped him. So I think if Joaquin Buckley is knocking out Wonder Boy, Stephen Thompson, and nobody does that other than Anthony Pettis, I think he's got the power that even if this goes into the third round and maybe Buckley's looking tired, he's just the kind of fighter that just wills through and get fucking is gritty enough to just chin Colby Covington at some point in the third round. I think he's just one of those fighters that could get his ass kicked, not looking good, but he just continues to push his way through and he finds that knockout. I think he's just tough. He's at this stage of his career where it's just hard for him to lose. And he's still got power, dude. He's just got a lot of weapons in his arsenal. And I think at some point, oh man, this isn't looking great for Buckley. Oh, he just chinned Colby. Oh, he just tagged Colby with the counter. Down he goes. I think it's going to go like that. He's not going to look the best, but he's still going to have the power to beat Colby, who's I think he's too inexperienced and has too much ring rust on the feet over these last like 3 years to really have anything going for him on the feet. So I got Buckley by round 3 knockout. Looks in trouble and then he finds his way back.
I honestly don't like just because Buckley knocked out a washed up old Stephen Thompson. I'm not going, oh my gosh, he's the fucking greatest fighter of all time. He knocked out Stephen Thompson, who's old now. Like, I don't give a fuck. But still a good win for him though. Isn't Joaquin naturally a lightweight? No. Fuck a Bima, man. Last K1 event, I watched some guy film his laptop on his phone on Instagram. Dude, I wish you would have sent me the link to that. That's what I want to see. Decision by Colby. Hank does an MMA clown show. I hate you. What is up, Grayshirt? He totally does do an MMA clown show. Thank you for referencing that. That's every Wednesday.
Yes. He's a piece of shit. And he does hate
Grayshirt
because no, MMA clown show. He's a YouTube channel. And he talks shit about people in his own live chat. And he's sort of a scumbag.
Oh, does MMA? Oh, I thought he said that you did an MMA clown show and he hates you. I was gonna give him credit for that.
No, Grayshirt likes my thumbnails. He respects Hank the Tank's game. He doesn't respect clown show. Not a lot of people do.
I don't.
Threatened
nobody knows who that is.
Chat. He's a piece of shit.
Yeah. Again, nobody knows who that is or cares. And
aside from Skatesman, he's a cat.
Hey, maybe don't get into like random YouTube beefs with people.
No, that's not me. That's not me. That's several other people.
Sure.
I was just joining the party.
Sure.
Nah. Joaquin built by a tank. That's 3. Wait, did you give him locks? That's all I got.
Yeah, you're rambling. Yeah, I mean, we don't need to read all of our conversation between people.
Hank the Skank, give me your mom's meatloaf right now. I will. Next time I do my fight companion. Hank's going to win if you don't pick 3 more. I win in the long run anyway.
Yeah, we don't need to read like the... Anyway,
Buckley. Hank, 6 locks. Okay, I'll give him. Hank, do you have the link for K1 posted on Isha's Discord? I will.
Nobody has a link for K1.
Totally, they totally do.
No,
I would
nobody
say...
will have a link for K1 unless it's on Japanese TV. Like that's what I'm trying. Right. Did you not hear a fucking word that I said, Jaden?
So for locks, I got Vitor Petrino, round 1 knockout. Honestly, I got Navo Sterling by round 1 knockout. That is also a lock. I honestly have Daniel Marcos as a lock. I think he beats Adrian Yanez. I have Michael Johnson against Ottman Azaitar. Joel Alvarez is a great lock as well against Drakkar Klose. And then I have Felipe Lima as a lock as well. Lima's really good. And then Knutsson and Maverick would be the other locks. So I gave you a bunch of locks.
Yeah. K1's not on meth streams. Yeah, no shit. You guys are not fucking listening to me. How many times do I have to tell you? You can't fucking watch K1 unless it's on Japanese TV, and that's the only way you can fucking watch it is by going to a bootleg Japanese TV like fucking channel. like online. That's the only fucking way you can watch it. K1 is on some Russian site. Find it and fucking give it to me, because that's the only fucking way I know how to watch K1. You fucking bastards. Drop the link.
Yeah, Idaho's finally in Isha's shoes when Idaho does the comment. Send link, brother, please. I need. Link,
no, I'm just saying. It's like you can't fucking watch K1 is the hardest thing to fucking watch in combat sports. It is. You can watch Wulin Fang on a fucking sketchy ass Chinese website, anytime you want. But yeah, K1, that is the hardest thing to watch, man. If you guys know how to fucking watch K1, let me know. He has the Abima links. Nobody has it, dude. Everything on Abima is free and easy to watch, besides K1 and Crush. That's it. I bet someone will upload K1 on Pornhub after. Yeah, I don't want to watch it after. I want to watch it live.
Great comment from Chummy Boy out of nowhere. Hello, Chummy Boy. Great
Good
first comment. Boy. Right at the end.
Do you have a link for K1? Nobody does. But again, dude, if it's on Guy Sports, I'll be right here watching it with you guys.
So yeah, I mean,
but unfortunately, I did tell Jay about this whole very thing. So if it is on Guy Sports, he'll probably be doing a fight companion. Unfortunately, so
hooray! Idaho Skatesman fight companion. Woo!
I probably won't be if Jay's doing it.
Wham, wham, wham. Sabotaging, derailing the channel. I tell
Hank, do you have the K1 link?
I have it in my mind. And it's slowly starting to piece itself together. And I'm putting in characters right now and typing away at my computer until I find the link. And then I will share it with the world once I have constructed my masterpiece.
I mean, look, you know what? I can find this out for you guys right now.
Let's do it.
Look.
Hank, do you have the link? I have never watched K1. Guy Sports.
K1 open weight tournament. December 14th, Saturday.
Live broadcast. There you go.
11:15.
Yeah, 11:15 p.m.
Let's see. This is December 13th, Friday.
And that's usually on Friday for K1. I remember when Skatesman, when you did your
companion
for KO, it was on Friday.
Dude, we're on a Japanese website.
Right.
Why would it say 12:14 and 12:13?
I have no clue.
And also, like, this fucking guy and this fucking guy and this guy were all on the last card. So I don't know if this is a rerun. No, it's not for last year because Guy just had their partnership with K1 this year.
It's got to be this.
What? Oh, I see.
Yeah.
There's an event they're streaming on Friday, and one they're streaming on Saturday.
I mean, you could assume that the one in National Yogi Stadium is the one to watch, right?
We could assume, but those Japanese are sneaky.
Yeah. Sneaky. Who is K1? Russian agent, a CIA spy. He's the current leader of Russia. Paradox, I think even K1 didn't watch K1, dude. Yeah. Nobody has watched
K1 World Grand Prix 2024 in Tokyo final. December 14th.
I am a bastard. Just not
21 hours.
Being a spawn.
Okay, hold on. But if I go look at Abima.
Brother, I smashed this guy, brother. Send location. Send link, brother. Send link. Japan has it locked down for real. Isolationist country. Yes, sir.
K1. Let me look on Abima.
Yeah,
but see, this is what I'm confused.
Fine.
This is why I'm confused.
Casuals.
I don't know if I should actually show. I don't know if I should show this, honestly.
Don't do it.
But I'm on K1's website, and it says that you can't watch this in your location, and it also says it's a pay-per-view. So what I wonder is if
fucking K1.
I wonder if Guy will show like a free portion. on TV and then switch broadcast over to a Bema for like the main fights. Because it says it's why would it be a pay-per-view on a That'd be like it being a pay-per-view on ESPN Plus, and then they had it like on the schedule for ESPN2. You know?
Yeah.
That's what I don't
Very
understand.
organized. Cage Warriors when?
And there's like a
Pretty
million
sure
fights on this shit though.
Yeah, it's always the case for K1.
Look, if it's on fucking wait, Chingy Zalazov is gonna fight? So sick. Anyway, yeah, man. I don't know.
It's on Friday at 9:30 ET, 6:30 PST. So that is when Cage Warriors. Paradox. They always do free prelims on YouTube. That is true. That it will be your only.
Hold on a second. It says it's live in 21 hours. That's fucking awesome.
Okay. There you go. We got
All right.
it.
Well, anyway. All right, guys. That's it. 2 hours.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, are you gonna do any fight companions?
Hell no. Not for regional
Okay.
MMA. Unless it's like karate combat.
You'll
case,
take
I'll do-
half the fucking stream breaking down regional shows, but you won't watch them live on the podcast channel.
Yeah, unless if it's Cage Warriors, maybe. It's a San Diego card, so meh. Also, I got to do my fight companion on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday, Hank the Tank's crash out fight companion. He'll get very angry at everybody if one of his picks doesn't hit. And then Sunday we'll recap everything.
If there's gaslighting in the chat, then I'll definitely respond. So no gaslighting, no derailing.
He will respond with very angry. He'll get very angry, and it'll be hilarious. So yeah, join in, watch that.
Andrew B will do his roast. But yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a great fight card. That is what I predict.
It'll be fun for us, not for Hank.
Yes. That sums up everything. But until we meet again, troopers and grinders, you have escaped the war zone for now. I am not done with you, P and Harry. Go and sit in your stool, boy. Go sit in your corner. And hey, Layla, I need you to get the camcorder, baby, and start filming that with Colby Chaos Covington and Trump and Melania and me in the same bed. And you could be in that corner. You could what?